I'm talking about the greatest. Hold up. Never with that fakeish. Roll up. Realest of the real when he was young. Muhammad Ali was still the same when he growed up. Louisville strong, well, we all knew he the chosen one. He knocked out List and he shocked the world and left it frozen, huh? Exposing the hatred America had for us. Ain't no justice, it was just us. 19 Southern Intifada, rumble in the jungle. The thriller memory never left you humble. After Ali beat Foreman, he made a phone call to a DC brother named Beryl Belly. Didn't call ABC, NBC. He didn't call Ed Bradley, didn't call Howard Cosell. He floated like a butterfly, stung like a bee. Ali made me proud to be me. He called Harold Bell in DC. Ali, a global cultural icon. His rope a dope like a time bomb. Rumble, young man, rumble. Beautiful young man, try fun. Rumble, young man, rumble. Beautiful young man, never tumble. Home at Ali, Harold Bell. Just got here on Kendrick Lamar. Now we're talking about Harold Bell. Harold Bell. Just got here on. Now we're talking about Harold Bell. Harold Bell. Just got here on. Now we're talking about Harold Bell. Harold Bell. Now we're talking about Harold Bell. Real godfather of sports talk, a man that talk and walk that walk. A media community pioneer, shared the same radio mic as Peter Green over the air. His voice came through loud and clear. When the streets of the original Chocolate City were mean, they did not have to scream, unlike today's radio host, the first Black American.
Okay, thank you. I'm Harold Bell. I'm your host of the original Inside Sports, coming to you from the Inside Sports and Legacy Network. This is the second chapter. Today we got a great topic that we're going to be discussing, and it's titled Crime, Violence, Kids, and Cops. Yeah, we got a big problem that we need to start addressing. I don't know if it's too late or not, but I got two great guests, guys who have been out there in the struggle, have seen it up close and personal. I would like to welcome my first guest. He's a native of course, Mount Vernon, New York, graduated from Mount Vernon High School, a letterman in track and field, received a 4 athletic scholarship to Rutgers University in New Brunswick, New Jersey. He has done some fantastic things. He's a former founder, he's the founder of the 100 Black Men in Maryland. Something that he found 17 years ago. He's still out there in the struggle, working with young people trying to help them find a way. I would like to welcome to Inside Sports Legacy Network, Mr. Walter Kirkland. How you doing, Walter?
I am honored, Harold. Thank you for being on this show. You're doing a phenomenal job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Proud and honored.
All right. My next guest is a native Washingtonian, a brother that used to listen to me back in the day when he was a youngster. And that's saying something. He went on to work with the Washington transit system for several decades. He's done a lot of work with nonprofits here in Washington, D.C. He's a businessman. He's an entrepreneur. He's all of those things, and he's in the struggle himself, or he may not realize it, but he's in the struggle himself. As we take a look at curfews that are being set around the city, man, that for our young people, some folks think that this is the way to solve crime. I'm not sure it's the way to solve crime, but I guess we have to start somewhere. So I would like to welcome my friend, Mr. excuse me, Joe. Are you out there?
I am.
Joe, hey, Joe, how you doing, baby?
I am doing quite well, Harold. It's really nice to be back again on your show once again, and thank you guys for inviting me back.
Hey, man.
This
Thanks for coming.
going on. I'm honored, sir. Thank you so much.
Well, we're going to get off on a hot topic today. And the first thing we want to take a look at the shooting that just took place at Wooten High School out in Montgomery County. Another school shooting. And these things are just popping up everywhere. I think we got a little background. I got a report on what happened out at Wooten High School several days ago. You run that for us, main man Shannon? Here's some problems.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I don't think
he's trying to.
Okay.
You got it? Okay.
Maybe just go into it. Yeah. Talk about it. Okay.
Okay.
Well, look, I'm the father of 4 students who attend MCPS. Your heart drops anytime you get an alert, as we did a few hours ago, about a shooting at any school. And I understand that angst. I'm first just thankful to the first responders, to police, both Rockville City and Montgomery County, that reacted quickly, neutralized the situation, arrested the shooter, and that the student is in safe condition. My heart to that student and their family and the entire community right now. One school shooting is one too many. We can't normalize this gun violence, so I understand people being scared. I want to make sure everyone knows. I think you all have reported previously about the reunification site at Robert Foster Middle School to pick up students. They're in the process of moving those students now so the investigation can happen. I want to let people know that we are doing everything we can, both pre and now post, to make sure every student is safe. Just in last year's budget, we added 52 new security guards to the school system, a bunch of ID scanners, cameras, new protocols, emergency protocols, and we have to keep improving. I mean, this is every parent's concern. Thankfully, these are rare occurrences, but again, one is too many. And so we're going to, as we always do, try to get to what happened here, let the investigation play out. How do we create welcoming school environments for everyone where we minimize conflict? And if there is conflict, which there always will be with kids, that we get to it early and before it gets to this type of situation. Not knowing what exactly happened here, but we know from prior incidences that can be an effective strategy. So hearts goes out to the parents, to the students, but the good thing is people are safe. And your kids are going to get home, and we're going to make sure we work through this and that there's counseling and all the things available so students can be successful and safe.
Councilmember, in Montgomery County, what do?
That's that's one of the violent things that just happened this week. But the other one was where there was a gun used here. There were knives used at a metro stop with about 20 kids. Man, I guess 2 gangs or neighborhoods fighting against each other. 3 people got stabbed at the metro in Northeast. I think it was in Brooklyn. And so this seems to be going on and on, but this is something that's not new. I don't understand where leadership is or where they should be in trying to curtail some of this stuff. The leadership, I think, are failing our kids. And when we look at this, we look at violence in British Columbia, Canada, man. They just had 9 students shot, dozens injured, man, and the gunman was shot dead. So I just hate to see this happening because a lot of us are copycats, just copycats. So you don't know where it's going to take place again. But I'd like to talk to my guest here tonight because Joe Wilson, you live in one of those places that have a curfew, and that's National Harbor. Do you think that's going to be part of the solution, the curfew against young folks at National Harbor? How is that coming from where you stand, Joe?
Well, Harold, actually, I don't have a definitive answer for that. I've lived in both places. I've lived in Brooklyn. I grew up in the Brooklyn, Michigan Park area. I live now, as you say, I live here in the National Harbor. And I've worked with youth and
Go ahead, Joe.
And as it relates to the violence and things that are going on in our area, I don't know whether I really have an answer to that. But I will say this. I am still of a mindset that there are no bad kids. So kids are born sometimes in a bad environment, which is systemic to those activities. Now, through social media or whatever is going on now, this is different for all of us. And Walter can kind of piggyback on this as well, I'm sure. And it's you, Harold. This is due for all of us. And this is something different that's happening in our communities and matter of fact, internationally. But it all comes down to giving these kids something.
I think we lost him. When you
Am I here?
all right. You're back. You're back.
Okay. Thank you. We need to get we need to get back to the basics to some degree. I don't know whether that's the answer. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I have all the answers, but I will tell you this: part of the answers is getting back to the basics as it relates to giving these kids something to do. And I'm going to tell you something else too. I'm going to mention this because it's not actually politically correct, but it looks like where we are, it always looks like it's our kids. And in fact, it's kids. It's other kids that are doing these things. Sometimes it's publicized, most times it's not in some of those other communities. And I can get into that subject matter at another date and time. But let's get back to what it is. These kids need something to do, man. We need to come up with a solution that helps to cultivate their skill levels, as it relates to entertainment and things that they want to do, and stop ostracizing them just because they're hanging out at a time when we don't feel it's appropriate. The other part of it is too, parenting is another part. And Walter and I just had some slight conversation before we came on air about this. Let me take some responsibility for this. We all have we all need to take some responsibility for some of our fallacies. And I'm not just talking about us as brown and black people, what have you. I'm talking about some other folks as well. You know, we need to really take some onus of this because we came up in the premise that we didn't want our kids to struggle and go through the same things we've gone through, and we gave them all this freedom, and then we turned a blind eye, like, you know, this is okay. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there because I need to. I don't have the answer to that, but I do know that there's some issues that I've touched upon that need to be addressed.
Walter, can you pick it up from there, Walter?
Yeah. Let me just echo what Joe is saying. I mean, this is a call to action, brothers and sisters. People who are watching this show, it is a call to action. We can no longer allow our youth to be uncontrolled. See, the difference is, Joe and Harold, is that they have a lot more stimulation now. They have a thing called bots. They have AI. They have Instagram. They have Snapchat. They have Facebook. They have a lot of social media. People are taking on different identities. These youth are alone. They're struggling. Suicide right now between ages 8 and 29 for Black boys in America is the highest in the country. I don't know if you guys knew that. These young people, Joe, are struggling. If they don't get married by 29, these are boys, black and brown boys. They're becoming isolated, depressed, and bored. And this is why they're getting into trouble. I run into this all the time. This is a call to action to mothers, fathers. We wake up. Our kids are lost. And you know what they have, Joe? They have anxiety. Joe, they have anxiety about what to do and where to go. We were talking in the green room. They don't know. We tell them what to do, Junior, what not to do, Junior. But we need to coach them. We need to migrate from college to a job. Everybody's not going to be a PhD. Everybody's not going to be a doctor or a lawyer. How about an electrician? How about a plumber? And now, right, Joe? Now with AI and drones, I do consulting for a drone company. If I was a kid, I would get involved with drones. Once you get certified with these drones, which, by the way, gentlemen, are the size of a pickup truck, can pick up a payload of 200 pounds, a grown-ass man, search and rescue. It's not drones that you used to see. It's not play drones anymore. They can do gun detection. They can do cleaning buildings. They can pick up a person who falls in a river or ocean. If I was hit, I want to learn how to fly drones and get my license. So what we have to do, it's a call to action. We cannot sit back and rest on our laurels anymore, because this is genocide in a different way, Harold.
It is.
We gotta save our youth. And we can go on and on, but that's my initial comments, that there's a lack of sense of urgency with our youth. When we were young, Joe, yes, sir, yes, ma'am, open the door, close it. Now they're on their phone, they're daydreaming, they don't respect their elders. We have a long way to go.
Yeah.
Harold, thank you for saying that, because I just had some conversation, had a meeting earlier today about implementing a new wave of my workforce development program. And it's all about vocational training. That falls into vocational training, because everybody is not college bound. And for those who are, they are where they are. With Harold, I am on the same page with Harold. It's about mentorship. It's all about being responsible and guiding our youth in the most prosperous way. Let me tell you guys something. And Harold, I told you this before in our last show. We are the gatekeepers. Make no mistake about what I'm talking about here, guys. As Black men, we weren't supposed to be here as long as we are now. Okay, I just had my 68th birthday.
One of the things that I find at my stage of the game, and of course being out there like I used to be out there are people in leadership that those of us who have this information know how we might want to help our young people. You got to depend on these leaders and parents to get you to them, and if they don't know, they don't want their kids to know, and that's hurting our young people, man. It's hurting our young people around, and very seldom, both of you know, and of course, Shannon know how I've been out here, man. I'm lucky to be sitting right here now. I should be gone, man. But I took risks. I took risks, man, and that's what we do today.
Absolutely. And to your point, we all taking those risks. We have. You know this. Walter knows this. You know this, Harold. Bach knows this. These risks. That's my point. We're lucky to be here at our point. Our fathers are not here.
Yeah, no doubt about that. One other thing before I know my man Walter got to get out of here. One of the things I want to take a look at is these law enforcement. It's always justice and just us. That's what has happened over the years, that they're officer friendlies out here, but also they are bad cops. They're bad kids. They're good kids. And we got to understand that. I came up a time where I tried to make sure that I brought officers into my programs, into my youth forums right there. That's one of my forums with Jim Brown and Congressman Tom Davis, with co-chairs, Spencer Haywood there. You see Samuel there. And that's, of course, the first Black chief in Washington, my man Bertel Jefferson. I always try to them to the forefront to let our young people know they're good cops out here. There I am on the corner with some of my youngsters talking to an officer friendly. But there also, man, we got to take time out to make sure that we let our young people know they got to respect the law enforcement. But also, for law enforcement, got to understand. That's my brother Earl, who was a DC cop for 14 years, and we came up hard, but we came up respecting what we saw. I want you guys to take a listen to this video here of a forum that I had, 4 minutes, and I want to show you the kind of people that I was bringing out to my forum. Can we run that for a minute or two, Shannon? This was down at Ben's Chili Bowl. I invited the community out in the office. We kind of got off track. I asked Mike to serve that. We wanted to get into, because we're running out of time. I don't want to keep anybody past the time, but we need to talk about right now. So we're going to talk about issues. I want you guys to make them real short. The first thing we're going to talk about is police and community relations. And how
Looks like it's delayed, bro.
is that in our community? And I want to start right here with Commander Phil. Commander Police Department. He's going to get up first and speak. Hopefully we can hear his short presentation.
That relationship can't be underscored. I mean, we all, I said that particular
We got a problem.
relationship can't be underscored with regards to the importance of it. We take it for what it's worth. We have police officers in every community. Now, the importance of it, I would say we have to ensure from our agency perspective that we reflect the communities in which we serve. Now, our goal is law enforcement. Law enforcement is easy to be blamed for everything that transpires in the community. But the community itself are the ones who dictate what that community looks like. Now, police, we're called when little David doesn't have food in the refrigerator. You know, we're called when little David isn't picked up from school. Those aren't police issues. Those aren't police issues. You know, one of the things that we're trying not to do is have that kid face a police officer when he's left after school. We don't want that interaction. Because that kid isn't in trouble. Those are the primacy effects that we subject the kids to when in fact those things occur.
He's talking about responsibility and non-responsibility.
But take it for what it's worth. We're minimizing it and trying to do our best to outsource many of these things to our social service agencies. If my officers do something wrong, you guys are very quick. You all will call me on my phone. Officer Taylor's right here sleeping and cruising. But I could say the same thing with many of these social workers, with many of these employees that work for the other agencies. You know my boss. My boss is Chief Captain of the Navy. Do you know the bosses of these other agencies? You couldn't name two. And that's the sad part. They have more work to do than we do in the communities. We're the last line. We're the last line. When you call us, that means that you tried.
Okay.
Everything else, you have no choice but to call the police then. And that's when we come to a state.
All right. We'll get a comment from the community. I want Bernie, you came over to Philadelphia. You work out in the community of Philadelphia. You're a native Washington. Telling you how important is police community relations. Where we support each other. The police officers need to community action.
Overwhelming majority of police do their jobs of protection service. One of my concerns is this quote-unquote unwritten code of silence. And the pressure that comes from that. One of the problems that will have to be worked out on their end, we the public, and we were sitting here talking earlier, being of the same vintage of what we came up with, what our parents would do, what they would do, couldn't do, and they kept us in line. Don't see that today. Today, parents send their kids to school, all right, to be taken care of, which has turned out to be the opposite, where they're not being disciplined at home, so they send their kids to school to be taken. That is not the school's job, which is where part of that lies. So those are my concerns. The kids, the parenting of the kids, and that quote unquote code of silence.
Okay, I'm going to address that. That's a very important issue.
You heard
A commander talking about the responsibility and non-responsibility of the cop, and then the other person was talking about how parents are really not following up on the kids when it comes to discipline. They send them to school undisciplined. And what does that mean? That means the teacher and the administration will have another problem on their hands. And that's why we are not being able to find leadership. I mean, leadership, people want to, I remember when my teachers and coaches would stay to 4 or 5 o'clock. You know, they can't wait for that bell to ring to get the hell out of there. And then they leave. That's why our kids are coming up short on so many ends, man. So, Walter, you want to take us out with that? Because I know you got to run. Walter?
Yeah, I got another 10 minutes or so. But yeah, I would say it's a systemic issue. And you're right. It's not the way it was when we played football and track and field back in the day, where my gym teacher, believe it or not, was like my father, because my father was never around. My stepfather used to beat my mom, and I didn't even know who my father was until I was 13. But this gym teacher was my extended father that allowed me to win national championships, made me the person who I am to this day, based on confidence, poise. And if I didn't have him, I don't know where I would have been. I would have been in the hood. I grew up in Mount Vernon, New York, near the Bronx. And many of my friends, and I'm the same age as you, Joe. I'm 68. I turned 68 January 26th. So I'm
bless you, brother. Happy birthday, happy belated.
I'm glad I'm still here. But this is a problem where kids, again, like we talked earlier, are lost and confused. They're overstimulated. They're bored. They have nothing to do. The accessibility, and I'm running for Congress. I don't know if he mentioned that to you, Joe, but when I get elected for District 5, Steny Hoyer stepped down after 40 years. That's Montgomery County, Prince George's County, Calvert County, Charles County. And when I get elected, I'm going to make sure my platforms is gun violence and prevention, because there's too much access of guns, these fake guns, the accessibility, kids walking with AK-47s, it has to stop. The other piece of my platform is mental health, and we need more service for mental health, because I think we sleep on that too with the suicide and what's happening in America. And then the last piece is AI and workforce development. I got a partnership with Van Jones, who's on CNN, who just got a great endowment from Jeff Bezos. And we're going to be rolling that out starting in Prince George's County under my initiative. So I'm excited about that. And this will all, I think, gentlemen, slow down these kids that are bored, as you showed, Harold, with those videos, getting into trouble. A lot of times these are good kids, Joe, getting in trouble because they're bored. Why did you steal those Timberlands? I'm like saying, well, Mr. Kirkland, we're poor. We didn't have any money and we got bored. Why did you steal those PCs? Same kind of thing. Good kids getting in trouble. So it starts with the black man in the family. I said this earlier and I'm sticking to it. You need to have a strong role model as a dad in that household. If the dad is struggling to keep himself together, to do the right thing, how is he going to be the head of the household? That's the issue we have. You know what I mean? We got to continue. Don't have these kids. You're not ready to take care of yourself. Then why are you having these kids out here struggling? It's not a money grab. So anyway, that's my thoughts.
Well, hey, Kurt, I want to say, Mr. Kirtland, let me tell you something. Congressman Kirtland now.
Yeah, there you go. I like it.
I'm already putting you there. I don't know whether you remember. I met a couple of weeks ago in Lance London's place in the Wine and Spirit store. You did your debate. You came
wait a minute. Wait a minute.
I was the guy.
That was you?
Was the guy. That was me. You came over to.
Oh my God. That's funny how the 6 degrees of separation. That's unbelievable. I remember you. And I was so impressed with you, man. Oh my God. You
yeah,
never know
yeah.
who you're talking to, Harold. You never know. That's why you got to be professional. And you remembered, I guess, when I said that. You put
Yes,
two and two together. I love it.
Yeah,
I love it.
So you and I have come full circle in our arena as it relates to our programs and what we're doing. I'm still doing some workforce development. I'm doing some stuff at DC as I'm a Washingtonian. But the other part of it is I 100% now. The other part of it is I was blessed to have my dad. My dad was my hero. My dad was always about community service and in the business of rehabbing. People who had substance abuse issues and things of that nature. So my dad was always strong and been about family. He was patriarch of our family, and he raised my sister and I sit at the head of our table and be what we are today. My sister is also in the business of social services and things, and so I take pride in our family structure. So when people talk about missing a dad and uncles and aunties, I can't say that. I grew up with all that,
Wow.
And it made me the man I am today. And I am so proud to be the man I am today. I sit at the head of my table and I take pride in that, to take care of my family and those around me, as well as my community. I'm about the community. That is what I was born to do. That is, the way I worked. And I've been blessed enough to get to this point to do and be able to do what I'm doing now. And to meet you, Walter, is a pleasure. To be a part with Harold and I, we're Washington, we go way back. And so to be in this arena, I'll tell you guys, brother, we got a lot to do. And that's why I say we are the gatekeepers. I hold people accountable. And I'm going to tell you, Congressman Kirkland, I'm going to hold you accountable as well. I hope to be right there with you and walk by you.
Yes.
And walk by your side if you need me to do anything with you, because that's the way we're going to rock this thing. I don't know whether we have all the answers, but we're going to struggle and try to create and some programs and things that make things better for people who need those things.
Well, we have a saying with 100 black men. And for you viewers out there, this is going to resonate with you big time. What you see is what you will be. What you see is what you will be. And Harold and Joe, we have to exemplify, and we have to be the role models to our young daughters and our sons. And we have to make sure we figure out ourselves. And we're just sloppy, man. And it has to change. That's part of the root of the problem. White people, when I went to Rutgers University, they had dinner time discussions. They had debates at the table. They had opinions. We as black men and women, we have to have an opinion. We have to be well read. We have to know that we know that we know. We have to be engaged. We have to be ready. And I don't see that sense of urgency, gentlemen. They're lackadaisical. They're in a daze. They think it's an ATM in the sky and money's going to fall right out the sky. I was so appreciative when I was a young person that my first job was pumping gas. And I was making that. I was so happy, smelling like gasoline, Joe. I was just so proud to get pumped that gas. These kids don't understand. They don't know what they don't know. And they just do things differently. So we have to, as the elders, and what I do, I bring this fire to these kids every single time. I'm a military type of guy. I didn't go to the military, but I let them know, open up your mouth, get that posture right. What do you have to say? If we don't take that kind of stuff and what they say, Harold, you got to stay in their grill. You got to be in their face. Where are you going? Who are your friends? And I know you don't like that, but I need to know. That's the intensity we have to change this paradigm that's happening right now. If you don't, they don't know what they don't know. Sometimes, Joe, they come one day, the boy's hair is green. The next day, the hair is blue. I'm like, what are you doing? Why are you doing that? Well, I like girls today. Next day, I like boys. I mean, we're living in a really tragic time, Harold, as you shake your head, that if you're not these kids facing their grill, it takes that one person, Joe, to change their life forever, good or bad. So they need to know who they're dealing with and where they're going.
And you're absolutely right about that. I piggyback with you 100% on that. No deviation. I did not go in the military myself, but I have military ways. I am very regimented. I am very committed to sticking to my word. I am staunch. And I am unapologetic. I was brought up that way. I'm about the community and things of that nature. But I will tell you something else too. To your point, you do have to stay in the face because let me tell you something. Kids, young people need discipline, and they respect it and they admire it when you really push them, particularly when they know that you care, not just because you're being a boss, but you care. Let me tell you something, Walter. I heard you say something when we were at the event a couple of weeks ago at the Carolina Kitchen, and you told one of the young bartenders, "What do you want, man? What do you want to do?" I heard you. Yeah, I did. I walked over from because I managed the wine and spirit store.
That's
I walked
right.
over when you guys ended, and I saw you pull that young man to the side, and I heard you say something to him, and he took notice of that.
Wow.
He took notice of that,
Wow.
not just because you're a candidate. He took notice of that because you were a man that perhaps I don't know whether this young man has a father. I really don't. I don't know much about those guys, but like you gravitate to people or young people who want your attention. They want your. I know when I'm in that store, those young guys come over to me. Even some of the young ladies, hey, that's Mr. Joe, that's Mr. Wilson, whatever. They want that attention. There's something that they're seeking.
Yes.
Now, let me tell you something that my sister always tells me. The best way to keep up with your kids is to know who their friends are and who they're running with. Sometimes they'll listen to you better than your kids will.
But what you said, Joe, what you said, Joe, not to cut you off, they want to be led. No. If you're an effective leader and you're authentic and they know you're authentic, they will listen to you. But if you come in there half-stepping, get out of my face, you double OG. You're wasting my damn time.
Exactly
but if you come in there, you come in there with a heart and you come in there with compassion, man, they will follow you and run through the wall, man.
They will.
Let me say one thing. We got to understand as black men, as black women too, that our word means something. If your word don't mean nothing, you're nothing. You understand?
Harold, to your point, Harold.
One thing I stood on with my kids, my wife tell you, man, when I give my word, hey man, I try my best to give it. To give whatever I can, man. And when them kids find out that you're really trying to help them and you're about your word, they say, hey, Mr. Bell, whatever you want me to do. They're looking for leadership. They're looking for leadership, and they're looking for truth tellers. We need more truth tellers like you guys. We need truth tellers, man. We got so in our community, man. We're overrun by frauds because everybody think it's about a dollar bill. It's got to be about a dollar bill. And that's why even these kids can look and say, man, hey man, that man ain't about nothing, man. He don't care about me. All he wants to do is make $1. And you got to persevere. Right. And that's what I've been able to do over the years is persevere, man. My kids, I don't care who you run into. They say something about her. Get Harold Bell on the telephone. And then you say that same thing. They ain't going to say it. Because, man, I've never missed them. I am flawed like everybody else, man. You understand? I know who I am and where I came from. You understand? Right. That's the thing, man, with young people. They got to trust you, man. They're so disrespectful, man. It's really bad because they don't trust any adults, man. They really don't.
Right. And I'm going to tell you guys,
but when they
real talk,
go ahead.
You got to remember we were all young before. And we tend, as we get older, to forget what it's like to be young. We forget that we make the big mistake of saying, and I hear a lot of folks our age say they should know better. Well, how the hell they should know better if you didn't teach them any better, if you didn't say anything to them? We're so quick to dismiss them. We're so quick to just say they're just no good, But you got to remember something. Like you, Congressman Kirkland, These guys are going to come along. They're our new leaders. They might not be your kids or my kids, but they're part of that same dynamic. And we need to make sure that they're safe. And we need to make sure that they can succeed. And we are the people to do that. We are the gatekeepers.
Yeah. Shannon,
so, gentlemen,
you're the young man in this group, Shannon. Come on in here and pick up, man, on some of this and tell us, are we headed in the right direction? What about where you are seeing? You are out there among these young people all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Harold. I would just have to say I agree with a lot that you gentlemen are saying. I think that the largest disconnect is that the showing and the telling of it, and Joe, you hit that kind of on the head where you said the mentorship. People often follow what can be seen, and what can be seen, if it's accepted within the group that you're associating with, it's much more easier to follow suit and to be a part of, negative activity, bad activity, things that don't show promise and success with positivity. A lot of times for our Black men that do make it to a certain level, they often hold on to it for themselves, and it's hard to get that information and see it through them directly. You might be working with somebody on their team that might resemble, different, ethnicities or things like that. So the disconnect of seeing and actually being told something within our community so that we can follow tends to be a little separated in a gap. So if we could see it and participate more in it and get that mentorship and, have people keep, trying with us and giving us success, because as young people, as we all did, we make mistakes, and sometimes because of the way that we're looked at in society, we don't always get those second chances or those opportunities to grow and be successful.
Good comments, brothers. I got to bounce. I really enjoyed this, Joe and Harold. We're going to talk tomorrow. I got to do a part 2 of this because I think this needs more discussion. So,
okay, thank you so much, Walter, for taking time.
I enjoyed it. All right, and brother, this world's too small, man. All right, now you never know who you're talking to. That's what you got to do right. All right, now.
Hey, yes. I'm giving you that early. Thank you.
Yeah, let's take a break for Black Zone Magazine, and we'll come back, and Joe and I will finish this discussion up.
They want to erase us. If there was ever a time to elevate our voices, share our stories, build our communities, embrace our creativity and ingenuity, as well as create safe spaces controlled and owned by us, it's now. Welcome to the Black Zone. Black Zone Social. Black Zone Television. Black Zone Magazine. For you. For me. For us.
All right. Yeah. I want to say, man, that it's this has been a great show. I want to take a look at Joe. There was a young man that came out of Dunbar High School a few years ago, went on to college, got an athletic scholarship. He was all met in football, and grew up in the inner city. And when he got his degree and everything, he came back home to get a job, and one of the city councilmen hired him. We don't know who that was, but anyway, he and a partner brought a house back in the inner city where they grew up. Well, there were a bunch of young people, probably their age, that probably really didn't dig where they were coming from. And so they start hanging around the house, outside of the house. And these two brothers, man, I mean, they were no punks. They weren't no punks. So they put their firearms in their pocket and went out and asked them, man, what is wrong? Why y'all hanging around our place, man? We done brought this. This is our home. We don't need you hanging out in front of here, So what happened, one of them had their hands on the pistol, and they reported it to the police, right? Reported it to the police. The city councilman that hired this young man, that went off and did the right thing, came back home, went back to where he lived. He fired the kid, man, instead of sitting down with him and talking to him and letting him know how he should have handled this business, that what he did wasn't the right way. Now, they fired this kid, man. So what ended up happening is that this young man got shot. He was shot and killed by one of these thugs that hung around out in front of his house, man. And here's a young man that was trying to do the right thing, but leadership, man, misled him on how he should have went about handling that. When I was a roving leader, we found out about things like that. I don't care where in the city. I was called, or some other road leader was called to go and talk, sit down with this young man. We don't have that. And that headline that the Washington Post ran, man, I can't even think of that kid's name, but man, that has hurt me ever since it happened, man. Ever since they shot and killed this brother, man, because we had none leadership down at that city council, man. There's no way that this kid should have been fired. No way. He hadn't shot and killed anyone, but by him having a gun, they say, hey, you fired. So that's the kind of leadership that we lack today, man. And I'm sorry that I can't get out there no more like that because of my age. And plus it's dangerous out there. Don't nobody care nothing about you, man. But we still got people who are in leadership positions that claim they out there and they're not doing a damn thing but looking out for themselves, man. And that's hurting our young people. We're losing our young people, man, at an alarming rate. We're losing our young people. I want to go right now. I want to go to the Hall of Fame piece and listen to me, Joe, talk about this. Shannon. This is what I'm talking about, man. When I got a presidential appointment through Richard Nixon, where I used to caddy for, I used to work. That's what I used to help my mom to make ends meet. I started caddying on the weekends. But what happened when I got the presidential appointment, there are a lot of black folks, looking down at me because I used to caddy for Richard Nixon. He gave me a presidential appointment. But what I did, man, I used that appointment to cross the aisle. You look at these white and black folks, that politicians that I was able to meet with, man, to help my young people, to help kids in trouble. Even Marion Byrd, man, Senator Decatur Trotter, Bob Dole, Steny Hoyer, John Lewis. John Lewis, man, got on my team to help Earl Lloyd get into the Hall of Fame when he was blackballed. John Lewis and Red Auerbach got on my team, man, to get Earl Lloyd inducted into the Hall of Fame after 50 years, him integrating in the league. The first black, he blackballed it. So I was able to go to John Lewis and I was able to go to Red Auerbach. And I made, I went up to Philadelphia with Sonny Hill. That's him with Mayor Good. That's the three of us on the playground. I went up to work the playgrounds there. I worked out in Alexandria, Virginia. Man, wherever there was a young person in need, I was there, man. So I'm saying, man, we got to start taking advantage of it. And they always say, well, Harold, why they don't put you in the Hall of Fame? Well, you know what? I ain't worried about nobody's Hall of Fame. I established my own Hall of Fame. See that right there? That's my Hall of Fame that I established. Don't wait for somebody to put you in a Hall of Fame, man. You get in there, establish your own Hall of Fame. These people want to be in God's Hall of Fame. That's the only Hall of Fame that I care about. But this is what I did, man. You look at all the people on there. Willie Wood, the great Willie Wood. And I know that that Joe know who Willie Wood is. One of the greatest.
Yes, I am very familiar with Willie Wood.
Yeah, the greatest defensive backs to ever play in the game. They blackballed him because as a coach with the San Diego Chargers, he didn't like the drug activity that was going on among the players. And he sent them out, and they blackballed him for that. There's Willie Wood, Roy Jefferson, Johnny Sample, one of the greats. So I done rubbed shoulders with them all, man. And I tell you, it has been something, man, that, peace of mind is not for sale. And everybody know how I got with these athletes, Muhammad Ali. How did Muhammad Ali give me the only interview? Because
that's right, I remember that.
He trusted me, you understand, to do the right thing. Folks, today, 50 years later, they still don't want to believe Muhammad Ali gave me the only interview. Willie Wood came after I helped get him in the Hall of Fame. There's Earl Lord with Red Auerbach campaigning for him to get in the Hall. People don't even know that. They think it's all about Stephen A. Smith yelling and screaming and sitting on the fence. That's not about, man, that's real sports.
That's right, Earl. As a matter of fact, Earl, your platform, a lot of people don't realize this, but your platform was before that even came along with ESPN. And they took that from you.
They sold my platform. That's right.
We had some discussion around that. And so that also needs to be documented. And I know people don't want to hear it. Some people don't want to hear it because they know it's true. But well, those who took it. But, we had some fallacies in that as well. But let me tell you something, bro. You're absolutely right about our Hall of Fame. Our Hall of Fame is what we do for our community and the legacy that we leave behind, because we are going to leave here and people are going to talk about it. But I think you should get your flowers while you're here. And brother, let's talk about something else too. You're going out to Las Vegas in a few months and receive some accolades out there. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, I am. I got a call about a week ago from the Black Radio Hall of Fame out in Las Vegas, and they inducted me into the Radio Hall of Fame in September of this year. And that was a great honor. Brother nominated me, and the president said, "I don't know how you're not in that Hall of Fame, but we want to bring you out to Las Vegas in September and honor you." And that's just for him saying that, man. I don't even know if I'm a fly or not. I'm not good. I'm not great on flying. I hope we can do it by
well, I'm not great on flying there.
I am honored, man.
Yes, you should be.
Selected.
I would love to be there and be part of the audience when you receive that award and be a part of that historic moment.
Well,
because it is
I'll let you know the date and time, Joe, so you might be able to get out there and support me. I'm gonna support you either way, but I'm going. I can I think I'm in a position enough to be able to do that. Yeah. Well, I was thinking about too, as we get ready to get out here, Joe, I want you to hear this. Judge Luke Moore of DC Superior Court, when I was out in the streets and doing these things I was doing, I had about 5 or 6 DC Superior Court judges who came out to support kids in trouble. They came out to support my Christmas toy parties. And here's Judge Luke Moore. As we lost the great Thurgood Marshall, I did this interview with Judge Luke Moore talking about the loss of Thurgood Marshall. Let's hit it up.
Right now, I want to talk to a dear friend, a warrior himself, who's a community activist who has been a sitting judge at the DC Superior Court for the last 16 years. Now he is a senior judge, semi-retired. He sits down as a
Oh no.
senior judge at the DC Superior Court, a guy who's been out in the community, knows
I hate that.
what it's all about out there and cares about all people, not only his people, but all people, and he's proved that time and time again. Someone once asked me, I once asked Muhammad Ali, give me a definition of a friend. And I think because people are always hanging on you, champ, and I know you've heard me say this before. But the champ's definition was how a friend is someone who's always doing something for you and expecting nothing in return. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome my friend to Inside Sports, who's no stranger here, DC Superior Court Judge Luke C. Moore. How you doing, Judge Moore?
Oh, Mr. Bell, my good friend, Mr. Harold Bell, you know it's always a pleasure for me to be with you because we have an enduring friendship, and it dates back many, many years when you and I walked these streets, and what you have done as a community activist yourself, and you are still in the fight. You are part of the struggle, and you've always been and always will be. So it's always a pleasure for me to be with you.
Talk about the impact and the loss of a Thurgood Marshall from the Supreme Court bench. And you know, right now we're going through a phase where the president is about to veto the Civil Rights Act, and of course Thurgood Marshall has been a fighter and a warrior all his life. Definitely he cannot be replaced. But tell us about the kind of impact that this loss will cause our community and our country.
This is a tremendous loss. It's a tremendous loss to all of us, black and white and all ethnics. It doesn't matter who you are and what your race is, because this man was a towering figure and a symbol of fairness and justice. You know, his voice at the highest court in our land was so important. What it meant to us is this, and what it meant to people who feel themselves victimized. You see, many people have reservations about the justice system. Some people don't think that it's fair, and it's important to have a person like Thurgood Marshall and other persons sitting on benches, on a court bench, and it's certainly at the highest level, at our highest court, who can be a symbol of fairness. And when people look at him, when underprivileged people, when black people, when African Americans, when white people who feel that their rights have been trampled on, when they can look and see a Justice Marshall and a Justice Brennan on the bench, they feel that their causes will be heard. And as you know, Harold, as many times as you and I are Luke and Harold, you know, you and I have been together for so many times, you know, sometimes it's not so much what is being done, it's the appearance. And it's important for people to feel that there is an appearance of justice. Because, you know, a person can come into a courtroom, Harold, if that person goes out of a courtroom feeling that he hasn't received justice, the system loses. That person has a sour taste. That person, you know, he gets disappointed and disenchanted with the system. He said, the system doesn't mean much to me. Doesn't mean anything to me. And so when you have a Thurgood Marshall sitting at the highest court, that person or persons like all of us can feel that that man is there. He's going to fight our cause, even if he's in the minority, even if he's just a dissenting vote, our cause will be heard. And that's the important thing of having a person like him, and it's a loss for we just can't even calculate that loss. Here's a man who himself was a victim of discrimination, who helped to fight discrimination as an outstanding lawyer for the Legal Defense NAACP Legal Defense Fund, won 40 or more cases before the court, before the highest court, on which he came later to sit. No one can state that they have that kind of record. He was one of a kind. He was unique in that regard, but most important, he was a symbol of fairness. And when you lose symbols, Harold, you know, that's important to people. When people all over the country can look up and say, I got Mr. Thurgood Marshall. Mr. Justice Marshall is going to be there, and he is going to make certain that I get a fair hearing, that my matter is heard, and when it's heard, that it's going to be heard properly, even if the person doesn't win. And so we lose that. But hopefully, there is another Thurgood Marshall lurking somewhere out there in the legal community, Harold. And we don't need to despair. We can't hold up our hands and despair. We have to ask the president, I'm sure he will, to look around, in the legal community. There are some persons, you won't find another Thurgood Marshall, but there's certainly some persons out there who are sensitive to the causes of others, who will be objective, they'll be fair, but they will make certain that little people, that ethnic groups, black people, the people in the West Virginia hinterlands and out in the hills, that those people, the women, that they feel that their rights are being heard at the highest court level.
Right. We're talking to Judge Luke Moore, senior judge at the D.C. Superior Court, and talking, of course, about the loss of two great lawyers, people who fought and put their lives on the line. Of course, Herb Reed, and of course, Justice Thurgood Marshall. You know, one of the things that reporters asked Thurgood Marshall in the press conference yesterday about somebody replacing him, should there be another black. I think his answer was, just find somebody who's qualified. I think what he really was saying, Luke, find somebody who's sensitive to the issues of minorities and the man on the lower the totem pole.
Now, you the key word, you gave the operative term. As you always do. That's the word. A person who is sensitive. A person who understands the issues. A person who is willing to take a stand on what some persons call controversial issues. They're not really controversial at all. They're really human issues. And persons who are willing to take a strong stand on them and be fair about it. And this is what he was saying, and I believe that person is out there. I believe that there are some persons out there who can do that. They may not be another Thurgood Marshall as such, because he was unique. He was unique in what and given his own background and how he had struggled and fought, and then having the opportunity to represent the NAACP Legal Defense Fund before the court on which he later came to sit himself. That's a unique path. You can't find that again. But there are persons out there who are sensitive to the various causes that come to that court. And you know, when the Supreme Court speaks, it speaks not just for the litigants stood up before it. It speaks for the nation. It sets policy, legal policy for the nation. That's what that court does. And that's why it's so important to have sensitive persons on the court. And I believe the president is aware of that.
Well, Luke, it's so important to have sensitive people like you in our community. And you have had a great impact. And I just want to say it's been my honor to be a friend of yours, and I want to say keep on doing the great things that you've been doing in the community, and we here at WST love you, and the community love you, and it's people like you too have had an impact. So Luke, thanks for taking time out to be here on Inside Sports, and looking forward to having you here again.
Well, you know, I'm always ready to come on your program at any time, because if there's one person who has done something in this community and has always given his all to this community wherever he is and in the and in the media, and that's important. You are our voice in the media, and you have always done that, and we love you for it, Harold, and always will, and our friendship will always continue.
All right, thank you very much, Judge Luke Moore. All right, bye-bye.
Boy, that was a powerful piece, man, and I just had to sit through that, because every time I hear it, man, it's such an honor, man, to have people like that speak out for you, man, and say who you are, you know. And Judge Luke Moore was one of a kind, man, one of a kind.
He really was.
Many judges, man, and he was a jewel, man, and I miss him today, because there's no fairness around. But we got to keep on moving. We got to keep on persevering, like you, Joe, like we just hooked up with Kirkland. Still, man, we can make a difference, man, because people want to hear the truth. You know, there are people in our community, as I always say, they always want to hear the truth as long as it's about someone else. They don't want to hear the truth about themselves, man. And that is what has hurt us over the years, man, the decades that I've seen. Where did we lose it, Joe? Where did we lose it, man? We don't trust each other.
Well, I'm gonna tell you something, Harold. I'm a bit of an optimist. I really am at a point in my life that I was just telling a dear friend of mine the other day about this. You know, every year I celebrate my birthday. I don't celebrate the New Year's. I celebrate my birthday as the new year. Mm-hmm. I make plans. I look at my past. I look at my future. I look at my present. And I'm gonna tell you something. There are some of us who have lost our way, but not all of us. I will not put all of us in that pot. I think what we're doing now, and we're very deliberate about where we are going as it relates to our future and our kids' future, and as in our community. I think if you stay true to your thoughts, and if you stay true to yourself, stay true to your community, things will work out. Can I save everybody, or can we save everybody? You and I've had this conversation before. No, we cannot. But what we can do, and what we will do, and what we are doing, is saving those who want to be saved. We're giving them some solid direction. Are we perfect people? No, we're not. Are we perfect men? No, we're not. Are we perfect husbands? No, we're not. You know, we're not those things. But we're people of faith. We're people that are moving forward. And those two F's go together. Faith and forward. Those are things that we're doing. I know that's what we're doing. That's why we're sitting here talking about this now. We're having this discussion now. This is what we're about. This is what we'll continue to be about. And I'm going to tell you something. As long as I'm on the planet, that's what I'm going to continue to do. And I know that's what you've been doing, Harold. And I know that Brother Bob and the congressman that just came on, and people that we're meeting with, and I know people that I'm dealing with in the community, they're doing their very best. I think that we're very conscious about where we are. And as long as we're conscious about where we are, we'll continue to move forward in a most positive way. I am very sure about that.
Joe, thank you so much, man. Thank you so much for taking the time out, man, today. And I want to thank, of course, Walter Kirkland. And I just want to say, going out here, man, my cousin is playing in the NBA All-Star game this weekend. Donovan Mitchell, one of the baddest young brothers on the planet.
Look at that young man. All right.
Hey, man, he loves children, man, and he's for real, man. There's nothing, you don't hear anything controversial about him. I mean, he plays the game. That's our family tree right there. That's Donovan and Al. So Donovan, man, keep on doing what you're doing, man. He's averaging almost close to 30 points a game, 5 rebounds, and 4 assists, man. And he's doing it quietly. You know what I mean? He's showing leadership, you know? And that's what I love about it, man. We met, and he's for real. So I want to send my best out to Donovan.
He comes from good stock, Harold.
He comes from good stock.
I want to say something. I want to say something to you, Harold. I don't mean to cut you off, but I really want to say something to you. You are doing some most positive things. You have always been doing it in the community. This is a very good time to have this type of discussion because it's Black History Month. You and I are civil rights babies. You're a little older than I am. As a matter of fact, you're probably about the same age as my dad would have been at this point in time if he had been with me. And I've always looked up to you and respected you. And I tell you something, man. You're why guys like me and guys that we're trying to lead and our families, why we are where we are, because this is a great time to have this type of discussion. It's a great time to show people out there and bring them full circle around our history and what we're really all about, not just in Washington, but throughout the United States and throughout the world. We're very blessed people, and we need to understand that we are, and we're favorable people. Right. And it's guys like you that remind us of that. And thank you so much.
Yeah, thankful to young people like Shannon too, because we need the young voices like him, man.
Let me tell you something. Hey, Shannon, we ain't see much of you tonight, but brother, can we see Shannon, because he made this possible for all of us to do what we're doing, and his input is positive.
Thank you. I appreciate
Shannon,
that.
We need us. You need you to co-sign on this, bro.
Yeah, absolutely. No, thank you.
I just want to
appreciate that, fella.
I want to give a shout out to a guy that I know Joe Wilson loved, and we all loved him. It's an late obituary, but he was such a great person for kids in trouble. 45 years, man. And Chief Z used to always be there for my Christmas toy party, and he was such a beautiful guy, man. So I miss him today too, Chief Z.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. All right, Shannon.
All right. Appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Appreciate you, Shannon. Appreciate you, brother.
Oh yeah, his brother was bad, G. The show was christened Inside Sports. The tag given to him by his wife, Hattie T, stolen by the powers to be. His interviews and friendship with Ali and Red Auerbach put his Inside Sports talk show on the map. On his radio show, he interviewed some of the most famous athletes. Reverend and reviewed the people and the struggle. His wife, Hattie T, founded Kids in Trouble, incorporated in the Hillcrest Saturday program in 1968. Shortly after the DC riots, this idea was great and still is to this very day. Invited by Nixon to come to the White House, his own people showed the jealousy. So what? Lights out. That great man's name is Harold Bell. He knew Jim Brown and Muhammad Ali up close and personal. When it comes to this brother, there is no comparing. He also knew brother Gil Scott Heron. If Harold Bell had played the game, he would have been a millionaire. We would have been calling Howard Cosell the White Harold Bell. Muhammad Ali, Harold Bell, Gil Scott Heron, Kendrick Lamar, Muhammad Ali, Harold Bell, Kendrick Lamar, Gil Scott Heron, Kendrick Lamar, the revolution. Will not be on your telly. The revolution will not be on your telly. revolution.